Good Monday morning. And again, it's Dr. Bill Williams from Atlanta, Georgia, coming to you live on the Influencers Podcast. And we're here today. We're going to be interviewing Manuel Vexler, who is the Executive Director of AKFI, which means Actionable Knowledge Foundational Institute Association. So let's bring on Manuel right now. Welcome to our
Hello.
podcast. Welcome. So glad you could join us today. And you're in Plano, Texas, I understand.
Yeah, that's my location. Although right now I'm traveling, so I'm in El Paso, Texas, and apologies for the low bandwidth because I'm in a hotel room and I get whatever I get.
No problem. We hear you loud and clear, and your background is very clear. So we're all set. We'd love to know what is the acronym AKFI all about, and what do you do as executive director? So give us your origin story.
Oh, okay. The Actionable Knowledge Foundational Institute, it's organized as a global organization to service professionals and to service the industry in the areas of sustainability and digital transformation. We identify a large gap between the way digital transformation it is implemented in companies, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of talk about it today, and the way sustainability is also performed in terms of strategy and in terms of how people report on it, how easy it is to report, how complete the reporting is. So we're working on this group. We have a number of activities. One is the Actionable ESG, which is a podcast like yours, Bill. Thank you very much. We go every Wednesday on live as well. And we also provide training to the industry in sustainability and ESG and digital transformation.
So digital transformation is a big part of what you do. You try to bring companies up to the 2024 level in their operations with what is it? The infrastructure that reports, or is it the actual infrastructure that runs the company?
In terms of digital transformation, I'll be happy it's 2020 because 2024 has AI and a lot of other bells and whistles that I'm sure very few companies can use or afford at the moment. But going into the digital transformation is not only about infrastructure. That's what is the most known, cloud computing. I mentioned AI already. But also it is about the people transformation, and it is also about the strategy and the business plans transformation. So these are very little talked about it. And the statistics and research shows that 70-80% of companies fail to have a complete transformation in terms of return on investment.
So who initially created the AKFI?
Myself and Anatoly Levin, the co-host. You can find our standard pictures. I was going to say they are beautiful on our website at akfi.org. We are coming from the telecom industry, both of us, and run different other organizations in standardization and best practices. So we bring this experience from telecom, which is digital.
Very good. So you're basically an educational institute, and you support companies. Do they join your group? Is that how they belong? How does that work?
Excellent question. We are a membership-based organization, so members have to support us. Actually, members are the ones that operate the organization in this non-profit mode. They form the board of directors. They put in place the strategy. Executive directors are typically administrators. They take care of the day-to-day operations. We are in the process of recruiting. We are also acting as a launch pad for very young entrepreneurs and students and interns, which are coming to us to work on research projects. However, from a formal viewpoint, we are not a learning institute.
Mm-hmm. So, what motivated you to get started to create this entity, the AKFI?
Well, the main motivation was when, like many other projects started when COVID came. Anatoly and I, we started to talk about the little amount of data, the confusion created by data. So the fact that the epidemic, the pandemic, was not properly matched by the digital technologies and digital tools we had available already at that time. And from there, we looked for, especially in the post-COVID era, we look at the bigger picture of sustainability, because pandemics are part of sustainability of human race, nothing more, nothing less.
So you basically saw a condition in the world economy and said we can build a better mousetrap. We can help people survive.
Absolutely, technology has to be in service of people. And if we don't put technology in service of people and we keep it bottled in data centers and cloud computing, will never serve the right way, or in a complete way, I shall say, more than the right way.
So, ESG comprises environmental and social. Which area do you focus more of your emphasis in?
We are focusing on, well, that's a great question. Actually, the three areas, if you look holistically, they come under sustainability, which means the continuation of the operations of the industries, servicing people, servicing the planet, the environment, and servicing and making the operational companies be profitable. So it's called sometimes the 3 Ps: people, planet, and profits. And that's what we service. We're looking more at the integration of these 3 areas. I should stop here and highlight there are many organizations like ours that are supporting E or S or G, mostly E and S, environmental and social.
So you're just one of the many that are tasked with help people navigate something that's fairly new in terms of, are you speaking of navigating the regulations that are put upon companies by government, or are you more internally doing it just for the social well-being? It's not because of the regulation, but because you want companies to be more effective in the 3 areas.
The latter, it's a much better description. We are not trying to influence the governments. To be completely open, we don't have the budget to do that. We'll be competing with a little bit larger budgets, which end up in B or 3 trillions or billions, right? So we are actually to help the industry work together. And our unique value is actually bridging this gap between technology, digital transformation, and sustainability, which is not, we don't know any organization that reaches to this. There are organizations that go into one area of technology, the others in the area of sustainability. So we position in as a bridge.
I understand totally. So it sounds like we want to next find out, what is it that people would actually get from you? I don't know. Do they buy products? Do they align themselves and learn, or just have education? Why would somebody join your group and support you?
The education part, it's more, and again, that's done through interns. But I'll go more into why these associations exist. And the associations exist for the industry participants and professionals in the industry, sustainability, ESG professionals, finance professionals, insurance, legal professions, to have a forum where they can come up with best practices, they can come up with different standards, and solve problems such as, I'll give you one of the big problems that exist today. In the supply chain, it's much talked about it, but one aspect of supply chain, suppliers now have to report on sustainability requirements. The European Union is at the forefront with a regulation called CSRD. California, it's close to that as well. And the Security and Exchange Commission has just ruled a couple of weeks ago that sustainability is financially important, what's called material important, and it has to be reported proper. So we are helping companies to go through this process efficiently, faster, and using also the technology that many companies do not connect with sustainability.
All right. So if that's the reason they should buy from you or actually join your association and take part, who would you identify as the number one type of person? Is it the ESG officer in a company, or is it line officers? Who are going to join?
The ESG, usually the CSO, Chief Sustainability Officer, CSR, and so on. The top sustainability person, it's our target for representing the company in the board of directors. And we're looking at the line managers to be the practical people, as usual they are, to write the specifications, the best practices, the standards. So working groups are formed by professionals and middle management.
Are there classroom settings, online settings that you hold, or do you have annual conferences, things like that, regional conferences?
We are in the formation process. So at this moment, we have these webinars, Actionable ESG, which I'll invite everybody to join us weekly on Wednesdays. We broadcast at 10 o'clock Central Time, so it will be 11 Eastern Time. And we invite top people in the areas of sustainability. And I should talk about the diversity of this area here, because it starts with ethics and it starts with impact investment and trends analysis, but it also continues with practical advice. So if you want to call it a classroom, it is a virtual classroom.
And are your clients and members from around the world, different countries, or all local in America?
Global. We have people, actually, our interns are, from the tip of southern tip of Asia to the little country called Canada.
Small country called Canada. Yeah, go.
The small country, yeah, the one up north there.
One of my favorite countries, actually, in the world. So how do you find your clients, your association members? How do you attract them?
At this moment in time, we are attracting them through this, through marketing. We decided to go direct marketing. Sorry to say, but influencers seems to be peaking. There are too many influencers. So right now we are using direct marketing campaigns. We are using interviews and building partnerships. Like the one with you, Bill. And again, many thanks for inviting us.
Sure. We're influencer podcast, so we are looking for people who have large reaches, important topics, and will educate as we interview. So obviously we're doing that today, and I want to thank you for being on here, Manuel. It's a new topic to a lot of people that haven't heard too much about actionable ESG. So you're breaking some ground for a lot of our listeners. Is there competition? You said there are many people working in the fringes of ESG, you being one of them, but how do you actually stand out above the crowd?
Well, it's a great question because actually associations compete in a very different way than they compete than services
Yeah.
and product vendors compete. So our competition is on quality. We're not trying to crush anybody, but I think we are in a niche market, a large niche market if we think of digitalization and digital transformation. And I think we are a pioneer in that area. So we invite everybody to follow and try to crush us.
Yeah, I understand. An association is far different, particularly a nonprofit, from a business that's for profit and has a specific item or service to sell. You're basically trying to uplift an entire industry. You represent an industry, and you get behind the industry to make it more represented in certain areas, or serve the client in a whole different way. So I remember
You're right.
Being part of the American Dental Association. We sent representatives. We had executive directors, and they represented us politically around the world, and as a dentist. And then I was part of Academy of General Dentistry. They had the same kind of an association. So an association does serve the greater good for the most part.
That's true. And really, when you talk about competition, there are many associations there that serve the greater good, as you said. I think some of them overlap. They are trying to write ESG standards. There are, I don't know, probably 20 ESG standards at the moment or more. 5 are sort of getting more upfront. And these organizations are now merging and trying to come up with a single standard. So definitely there is competition among associations and there is cooperation. We are on the cooperation side.
Very good. Tell us what some of the well-defined products and services that the association offers its members.
We offer white papers in topics such as the role of CSO. The role of CSO is still not very well defined. We found some market research and some analyst research, but definitely consultants are not quite getting it. We are also looking at a certification program, which we're going to launch in May. You are the first one to hear about it, by the way. So, wow.
Breaking news.
Thumbs up. So they are focused on 2 levels: executives, which need to manage ESG in digital transformation processes combined, and we're also looking at the middle management, as I discussed earlier, that have to execute. So 2 different target audiences. We're launching it in Europe. We're actually launching it in Romania, which is a European Union country and happens to be my country of birth.
Roumania. Wow.
Yes.
That's good. Good news. I didn't know. I've worked with many Romanian expats who are in my country here in the U.S. Some of the hardest working people I know, being a dentist, I have Romanian dental assistants that they shine highly. They do well.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, we have a few partners also from Romania, so we're doing very well with our partnerships.
Excellent. So talking about, how you deliver services, do you have any online platforms that your company relies upon?
We have, like any company, a website. We rely on LinkedIn. We did not build our own online platform, but I can tell you that the biggest challenge today for platforms is to get attention. They started by being attention grabbers, and now there are attention dissipators. So we didn't build our own platform, but we use commercially available platforms.
Sure. Yeah, I often ask the question about a feature people like most about a platform, and also a feature that people would like to have added to a platform. So, what I'd like you to answer is what's missing that you would like to see available for an association to function better.
Going back to the general topic of AKFI, standardization and best practices, there are too many tools. So for a small nonprofit to even navigate, and I'm coming from a telecom and IT industry. I'm an engineer, and it's complex. So imagine somebody that comes from the commercial part, from the marketing part, from the legal part. These platforms are made for the geeks, by the geeks, and I think there is a time to be made by the geeks for the rest of us.
A simple platform. How would you think a platform that allows people to speak on one video conferencing platform like this, but would be able to simultaneously translate all the languages that you come in on to one they understand? Would that be a useful platform?
Would be a fantastic platform. I should mention actually that because of low bandwidth, if you look at this platform, I appear, kind of cartoony, and I'm aware of it, but this is what I get when I use a commercial platform. So absolutely, quality and platforms are communications and marketplaces, right? And imagine how the marketplace looked during the building of Babel, right? Trying to place anything would have been a nightmare. So yes, and yes again for a platform that can service. And I'll focus here because we talked about social. A lot of people are they have no capability to speak other languages, and especially the poor people, the people that need most help, speak a local language, and that's it.
Well, that's the good answer. The good news is we're going to probably talk about that at the end of the hour here. The opportunity to have such a platform that does that kind of language translation for anyone who wants it.
Exciting.
Yeah. I didn't just put that question in there by chance, did I? I knew your international audience would perk up and listen to that question.
And you are an influencer, so I didn't expect to do anything for free.
Yes. Always good news. Pass it along. That's what we do. Pass along the good news. I want to talk about you personally now and just kind of focus on how you view life and what your focus is. What are you grateful for today, Manuel?
I like a lot the it's not an easy question because there are so many things. Every day it's a new day with different challenges and different opportunities. And I wish I have more time every day, maybe 36 hours, 48 hours a day to complete them all, because I want to be in touch with friends and partners. And also, I didn't mention, but I'm an instructor at Cornell University, so I have my plate full with my students. And guess what? Two of the classes now are on digital platforms. So excitement comes every day, and by the end of the day, I still stay excited and would like to continue a few more hours if I could.
That's great to hear. Great to hear. How do you get started every day when you are in Plano, Texas?
I usually start with a morning exercise, physical exercise. I mean, going to the gym, trying to, prepare for the stress of the day, and a cup of strong coffee,
Strong coffee.
double espresso.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Only the way they drink it in Romania.
They drink it Turkish coffee.
Yeah.
They cook it very slowly on sand.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Turkish coffee and Romanian coffee, very similar. So, what advice would you give yourself if you're starting over? You're 20 years old. What are you going to tell yourself to do if you would do anything different?
Well, listen more, do less. Um, Now think that I knew much less, and I would give myself the advice to be patient. That would be probably the primary advice, and stay curious.
Yep. Now, when you were 20, were you living in Romania?
Yes, I was in the middle of my university.
Yeah. What university was that?
It's a university in the northern east part. Now you can see Ukraine from my city practically. To put it on the map, was one of the older universities, the second oldest in Romania, which I think would be now over 200 years old. And was the leading part of the engineering, which was electronic engineering. They were just forming that faculty. So I was the first generation going through that and graduated in medical electronics, actually. I have a master's in biomed.
Biomedical.
Yeah, correct.
And what year was that?
Let's move to the next question.
I was just trying to figure out if you were graduated before me or not.
We'll take it after the call.
Yeah.
I don't compete on this, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's okay. If you want to be remembered for something and people talk about your accomplishments, what would you say you'd like them to say about you when you're thought of by, successive generations?
Well, I made a change in the world for them, not for me, for the next generation. And hopefully a positive change, and hopefully a memorable change.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you will. Now, we want to be sure and support you in the actual ESG podcast and also give us any links to websites and also your podcast.
I cannot give the link on the YouTube. You can find us on YouTube under Actionable ESG channel. I don't know the URL for that. For our website, we are at www.akfi.org. Simple website.
AKFI.org. And then
Yes,
that'll have
.org.
links to the web podcast.
Yes, it has the web podcast and links to our white papers and also links to our certification programs.
Excellent, excellent. So hope people will take advantage and find out more about the possibilities of digital transformation and close the gap of sustainability. Things that you guys are excellent promoting. And tell us about your experience on the Influencers podcast today. Did you have a good time?
I'm still having a good time. What do you mean?
We're glad you came on board. Thank you so much. I want to let you talk to the audience and just give your final word here. And when you're done, I'll come back on and we'll talk about that particular program that talks to the world.
Okay. So, well, I have a simple final word. Look forward. Look at the way life is changing around you. Look at the way sustainability, as I mentioned, the planet, the people, and yes, the profits have to evolve in order to support everybody, and to support everybody not only in the US or Canada, but or European Union, but also in Africa and Asia.
There you have it, Manuel Vexler of AKFI. I think you hit a real clear note on your final word, Manuel. You talked about balance. You got to be sustainable, but you've also got to be profitable. You got to be
Absolutely
good for the people, good for the planet. That's great balance, and we all seek the same thing. I want to bring to your attention those who are listening now on the Influencer Podcast around the world, 190 countries, tuning in on a regular basis. If you haven't clicked on my QR code up above, then you sure should if you want to capture freedom. If you want to do that, you will land on my digital business card at OVU, which basically lets me put in anything and I can arrange it different ways. And I usually will keep the Influencer Podcast front and center, where we give all of our episodes, including the one with Manuel here, will be up today. We have that at drbillwilliams.tv. And we also have much information on the AI technology, the SaaS products that we are developing. And on passive, the O-Trim, for instance, made the QR code, made the short URL you're looking at. And if you go there, you can get the O-Trim for free. We give that away as a win-win for every customer that wants to use it for free. And there are other things there, but the only one I'm going to talk about today is O-Connect, since we mentioned the ability to go on a video conference and have simultaneous translations. So what's going to change the world in video conferencing is when I can be talking in English and all the friends in Romania can understand, no matter if they know English or not. Or they can be in China or in India. They could understand Hindi, Cantonese, Mandarin. They could understand Russian. I'm not very fluent in Russian, but I've been there. And I know that there are not many people in Russia that speak English. So it's going to do a lot for world understanding if we do have a platform where we can talk to each other without interpreters, without a delay, without a question about what did they really mean. When the AI technology reaches that point, and we are there today, where AI technology will allow us to have simultaneous translations. I think it's going to be a new day in commerce. It's going to be a new day in social connectedness. So that's pretty much what I wanted to bring forward today to the audience. And Manuel, speak a minute to what you think would be the long-term benefit, the actionable step of having a communications platform such as O-Connect.
Well, pretty much any aspect of life, as you know now from large language models, right, from AI, is related to language and communications. And, you know, I almost state the totally obvious, and this is if you cannot understand what I am saying, we don't have a dialogue. I have my monologue, you have yours, and then we drink a strong coffee at the end. Language is the basic human communication tool. Spoken language is taking over because of the technology. Before that, we had to rely on, remember there were postal stamps and envelopes and stuff like that to send your messages. But absolutely, you cannot start without understanding the basics of the language. But I also have to say that this is the beginning of the exploration of the cultures, because language is not culture.
Well, I'm looking forward to many bright days ahead. We both have seen a lot of history.
Absolutely.
We've both traveled. I was in the people-to-people goodwill ambassador tour of the old Soviet Union, went all throughout Russia and Scandinavia back in the 1980s. And in the 1990s, I went back to Kazakhstan and Russia, Ukraine, when I was there, right at the time of Perestroika and Glasnost. And most recently, I guess I've been into much of Eastern Europe when I was just on vacation traveling down the Danube. So I've enjoyed being in the cultural center of that region, the world. Really a lot of history and a lot of warm, nice people there that we need to communicate more with the people that we never were able to when we were younger.
Absolutely, and Danube is a great example of one major water link between maybe 10 cultures and at least 10 languages, right? Czech and German, and you go through Bulgarian on the south of Romania, which is a Slavic language. So all the major language families, of course, Romanian is Romance. All the families are gathered by one big water river.
It's a beautiful trip. Anytime you can do that. We went from Amsterdam all the way to Budapest, and next time it's going on down to the Black Sea.
You have to follow the Danube. You still didn't finish. Budapest is not the last place.
That's right. Got to go all the way.
Yeah.
Well, Manuel, it's been great having you on the Influencer Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Look forward to more connection with you, sir. Thank you, audience, for tuning in with us today, and have a great week. The last week of March, and come back on April Fool's Day, April 1st coming up. You never know what's going to show up on the Influencer Podcast. We've got a great show set up for you on April 1st. Take care, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bill.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.